everyone. Welcome to part 2 of the Globuntu Masterclass, Globuntu Masterclass for Writers. Last week, I brought you the first episode of, or not the first episode, part 1 of the many reasons why you should write your book now. My name is Beatrice Achaleke. I am the serial author of the Africa for Smart Kids book series, publisher of Globuntu books, and a passionate writer. I just believe in the powers of writing because writing is much more than just taking your pen or taking your device, sitting down and writing. When you write, you create a legacy, a blueprint to legacy. And if you watched part 1 of this masterclass series last week, you will know by now that there's so many reasons why you should write your book, particularly now. There's so many reasons why now is the perfect time for you to write a book because we've never gone through times like this. And so I am here to bring you part 2 of this masterclass. And in this part 2, I have 2 assignments for you, or I have 2 pieces of 2 different contents that I want to share with you. Number 1 is giving you the last 3 reasons for which I think now is the perfect time to write your book. And in part 2, I will give you a rundown of the upcoming Globuntu School of the Globuntu Writers Masterclass. I keep mistaking because Saturdays are always the days when I host the School of Life Masterclass. And for this month, I decided to make an exception and just bring you the Writers Masterclass. So you hear me keep saying the School of Life Masterclass. I beg you to excuse me for that slip of the tongue. So whichever way, I am happy to have you here. If you're joining me on Facebook or on YouTube, I welcome you to ask questions. Take the chance to ask as many questions as possible. If you have a story in you that you know you would love to write, but you do not know how to get started, you don't know where to begin and where to end, you don't know where the middle is, you don't even know, you have a lot of fears in you, whether it's the fear of being judged, the fear of not finishing your book, the fear of offending someone with your writing, the fear of walking through the past somewhere, something that you've left behind you. And you think like, I would love to write, but I just don't know. If it is the pain that you've gone through in your past and you're afraid to walk through it, I tell you, you can't really heal until you walk through those sore wounds and clean them up, declutter them, and set them up to heal. And one of the best ways to do so is through writing. I speak from experience. So before I get to the 2 content sections that I promise you, let me quickly remind you of the reasons that I shared last week, the 9 reasons that I shared why I think now is the perfect time to write your book. So number 1 reason was that becoming an author gives you the credibility and the authority to speak in a certain way, because when you write, you pull your story together, you do your research, and you come up with powerful content that you share with other people. And just that process of writing makes you, gives you credibility and gives you authority to speak in certain context or in certain industries. Okay, number 2 was writing liberates and helps you to sort out your life. If you have gone through different things in your life, as we journey through life, as I always say, you go through different things that experiences, you're exposed to experiences, you're forced to go through some life-changing times in your life, and you just collect those experiences and you store them in your cellular memory. When you set out to write a book, you give yourself the permission to liberate yourself of some of those emotions, feelings, and experiences that you must have been carrying in you. And number 3 is when you write a book, you give yourself an excellent way to share your message with the world. Whatever your message is that you want to share, whether it has to do with experiences that you've gone through, things that you have learned, knowledge that you have acquired, or wisdom, one of the best ways to share them is through writing. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4, I'm just recapping the 9 reasons that I gave you last week that I want you to remember before we jump onto the 3 additional reasons. So reason number 4 is a book boosts your self-worth and self-confidence. When you speak from the space of an author, a published author, an accomplished author, you definitely know that people look at you differently, people receive you differently, and just that reception gives you the possibility to get into spaces that you otherwise would not get to had you not written a book. Number 5 is writing a book quantum leaps your personal growth, because when you set out to write a book, you have to do some research. You have to challenge yourself intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, and creatively. And just that process of challenging yourself to come up with something new, it's like a new product. That process really help you to grow your personal, to grow you personally. Okay. And number 6 is writing helps you to reorganize to understand your family pathology. So we come from sometimes very complicated, intricate family backgrounds, and we have family traumas and family pathologies that make us show up in the world in a different way, in a particular way. And sometimes we don't understand why certain things happen to us or to some members of our family. When you set out to write a book, especially if you're doing an autobiography, that process really helps you again to go into your family pathology and discover some of those patterns and understand how they affect you, or they affect your siblings or your family members, your children, and you're able to correct some of them if you think that they're not bringing you what it is that you want. And number 8 is when your story, you can use your story to change someone else's life. We journey through life, we get inspiration from people, and sometimes people look up to us. So writing your story is one of the best ways that you can use to inspire people beyond your geographical location. Number 9 is a book is a legacy. It's an indelible legacy, one that can never be changed. When you write a book, it is a lifelong legacy that you write. And whether you're here or not, your book will always be here. You bear with me. There's some great writers like Elechi Amadi or Wallace Soyinka is still alive. Oh yes, our Nobel Prize winner is still alive. People like Chinua Achebe, people like Kwame Nkrumah, they're all passed, but because they left written pieces behind. People like John Henry Clark, people like Chekanta Diop, people like Ivan Van Septima, or people like our brother Ronoko Rashidi, who just recently passed. They left behind indelible legacies we can always read, and by so doing, we keep their memory alive. So that's one of the reasons why you should write your book. That was a recap of last week's class, and for this week, I just want to give you 3 additional reasons. Reason number 10, no, reason number 11, number 10 will be that when you write a book, it gives you an additional source of income. So when you write your book and you're an entrepreneur, or you're an entrepreneur, it really helps you to harness your business. You can tell your story in your book, but at the same time relate it to your business. You can when you write your book and you have your speaker sheet and you get the chance to be invited to speak or to tell your story somewhere, like I was invited to speak at TED, I have a TED talk, then it really, really helps you to use that avenue to earn money. And earning money with your book is one thing that people sometimes forget, is that when you write a book, you become a best-selling author and you earn a lot of money. No, one of the best ways to earn money from your book is actually through speaking, through presentations, through telling your story. And that way, writing a book becomes an additional source of income for you, okay? The next reason is, this is reason number 12 now, is that when you write a book, it gives you the chance to reintroduce yourself to the world, to reintroduce yourself to your family. If you're a parent like me and you're a working parent, you're juggling, or your children are not born in your culture, you know that it is so important that you sometimes don't have the time to tell your children about where you come from, about who you are, and about your family legacy, right? We are juggling so much that we don't even have that time. Our children grow up with us, but then they don't even know who we are. If someone asks them about their family, they may not even know. And they are our children, because we don't even have the time to tell them, about us. And writing is one of the best ways. If you don't have the chance to tell them who you are, to introduce your family to them, writing a book is one of the best ways. Sometimes you really want to tell them, but they don't have time, or they want to hear, but you don't have time. But when you sit down to write, you write your story, you write about your legacy, you write about your life, you write about your childhood, where you're coming from. Your children have a piece of book, a piece of written documents that they can always refer to. And when they have their own children, I'm talking about your grandchildren or your great-grandchildren, they have something that they can refer to remember you, to understand some of the values that were important to you. So writing a book really, really helps you to recap, to capture the things that are important to you, that you want your family to know about you, that you want your friends to know, you want your associates to know, and you don't have the time to tell them. One of the best ways to do so is to put them down in a blueprint, and that blueprint can be your book. Okay. The last reason that I want to share with you, that's reason number 13, why I think now is the perfect time to write your book, is that when you write your book, it helps you to relaunch your business. We have gone through, or we're still going through this pandemic, and so much has changed. Maybe the face of your business has changed. The perspective of your business has changed. You have created other new product or services to your business that were not, that you did not have before the pandemic. Okay, so when you write a book, this gives you the chance to re-attract the attention of your clients and even new clients. It gives you the chance to reposition yourself and your business and whatever it is that you're offering, whether they're goods or services. Writing gives you the chance to relaunch your business, to relaunch your life, to reboot your life, and to show up in a new way and reintroduce yourself to whoever is your audience. So writing is more than just sitting down and getting a pen and writing. When you write, you create a legacy. When you write, you speak to people differently. You gain authority, you get the permission, and you have an extra source of income. I can't insist enough about this. So if you're still wondering why it is, why whether you should write your book or not, if you have questions and you're watching me right now, use the chat forum and text me your questions. Where do you stand right now? What is it that is keeping you from writing your book? What are your fears? What are your challenges? When you think about writing your book, what comes into your mind immediately? What comes into your mind that keeps you? Why are you procrastinating? What are your excuses? What are the excuses that you're having not to start writing your book right now? So that said, I will then take you to part 2 of this masterclass. And in part 2, I am going to show you how in the Globuntu Writers Masterclass, I can help you to write your book in less than no time. And I always tell people, when you come into this masterclasses, you must make sure that you're ready to finish your book within 6 months maximum. You can write a book within 1 month. You can write a book within 2 months. Some people take 5 years to write a book. But again, if you're writing the kind of book that I'm talking about, I coach you in the masterclass and to get you set, get your mind set, and bring you in the space of a successful writer, someone who can start her book, his book, and finish within 6 months, if not less. Why? Because, excuse me, when you start the writing process, you activate so much creativity in you. You activate so much, you create time, you talk to people around you, you make research in order to really capture your story. If you let so much time go by beyond 6 months in this process, you get tired, you get bored, you forget some of the processes, and some people don't take you seriously, and you can't take time off work or take time off your family forever to write a book. So when you start and when you come into the Globuntu Masterclass, you in the mindset of a successful writer who can start and finish her book in his or her book within 6 months. So if you're curious about what this masterclass is all about, I am going to share my screen with you so that I can take you through the different modules of the 6 modules of the masterclass. Summer is coming back to town in Johannesburg, so we're still getting used to all of that, what summer brings, and sometimes you just get a little bit slow. I feel a little bit slow today, but I am super happy to be in this masterclass. It looks like my network is not, is a little bit slow as well, so you bear uh, we are resuming the masterclass. I apologize for the interruption due to network instability. It happens every now and then. So if you can see on my screen, this is module 1 of the Writers Masterclass. The masterclass is Write Yourself Out of Your Challenges. Your challenges may be the pandemic that we're going through, or it could be something else. So module 1 is activation. Activation is where we get you, where I get you on the mindset of a successful writer and help you to, excuse me, to understand who you are, what your story is. And in the same module, you learn about a whole lot of things, which, if, for example, you learn about why now is the perfect time to write your book. You discover the different writing styles so that you can eventually choose the style that you think is appropriate for the book that you want to write, whether it's a journal that you want to write. You just get to know the different styles of writing so that you can make your choice. You take stock of your life, including where you were before, your challenges, and where you are today. So I give you tools to help to take stock of where you stand, because knowing where you stand, knowing where you come from will help you shape where you're going. And that will be part of your story. Okay. In this same module, you get to find out about some of the challenges that you may face on the way in writing your book, and how you can set free the writer in you. In this module, you get a series of handouts from me. Handouts are tools that I have developed along my writing process. I've been writing for the past 8 years. I am the author of 23 books. I have coached 8 women to write their books within the last 24 months, and 15 kids as well. Some of them have gone ahead to win awards. So I have developed tools and tips and small worksheets that will really help you start the process and stay on it. So in every one of the masterclass modules, I give you content, but also tools that will help you to stay in your writing process. In lesson 2, we're looking at the typical writer's blocks. You must have heard about writer's blocks. These are some of the things that stop you from continuing your writing, whether it's you being overwhelmed because of the content that you come across in your writing process, whether it is the lack of creativity, when you don't know where to find your story, you don't know how to stay motivated. All of these things, they are writer's blocks. We call them writer's blocks, and there's a whole long list of them. And I will not bore you here with the list, but when you come into the master class, you get to know them. And sometimes, excuse me, sometimes you will find them, you will know them, you would have experienced them, and you can bring them in the class. And my job is to help you overcome, understand the pattern behind those blocks and to overcome them. And in this module, just like the previous module, you have a series of handouts. And one of the biggest handouts that I give you in this module is my Globuntu Blueprint template, Blueprint Writers template. It is a pre-formatted template that allows you to quickly start your book from the cover page right down to the back, to the back covers page, right? So it has all the chapters. Everything is preset for you. What you have to do is just sit down and write right inside the chapters, right inside the pages. Everything is set for you. And this is something that allows me to write quickly, to write many books at the same time, because you don't have to juggle to think about structure, sentences, or to think about page setting and all of that. It's all set for you. The template is set and you can easily write. Okay. In module 3, we are looking at module 3 or lesson 3. We are looking at typical forms of self-sabotage. When you set out to write your book, if you don't face writer's blocks, sometimes you face self-sabotage. When you just don't find the time, when you find more excuses to not write rather than to write, when you skip one day of writing and you have the feeling like it's not easy for you to come back into your writing process, when you when the fear of being judged or the fear of not finishing actually stop you from continuing to write, it means that you are practicing, or you are currently undergoing one or the other form of self-sabotage. So in this lesson 3, we go through the different forms of self-sabotage that writers typically face, and I give you tools and tips on how to overcome them. And here you also have a list of handouts that you get. Here you also, one of the tools that has really helped people in my master classes is what I call the time killer list. Sometimes we all have 24 hours per day, all of us. The way we distribute or set out our 24 hours, the way we plan our 24 hours really, really determine how much we accomplish in whatever thing we're doing. So the list of time killers and what I call my Globuntu 24 hours writers master plan. It's a plan that will really help you reorganize your time around the time that you're writing your book, okay? Around the months that you set aside to start and finish your book. I give you that template so that you can reorganize your time from the time that you wake up in the morning to the time that you get to sleep. You learn how to find time every day to write your book. Whether you're writing just one paragraph or you're writing one chapter, the most important thing is that you stay in the flow. And in order to do that, you need to know where your time goes to, where your 24 hours are going to, what are the activities and habits that are killing your time and how you can avoid them. And if you have that 24 hours master plan, it really helps you not just to write your book, but to reorganize your time and reorganize your life. That's a testimony that people give me. People who use the 24 hours master plan, they say that it really helps them to reorganize their family time, their work time, their leisure time, and their creative time. Okay, so that you get in lesson 3. In lesson 4, we're looking at developmental editing. So when you start writing, one of the next main thing to do after writing is the developmental editing. It's proof editing. It's all of that. Now, when you set out to write your book, what I want you to bear in mind is that you don't have to think about this part of your writing. What you have to do is birth your book. The book is inside of you. No one can take it out except you. So when you finish writing the book, you can get people external to help you to do the developmental proof editing, the developmental editing and the proof editing. People can read and give you feedback. If you're in my class, I can also read and give you feedback and help you on how to structure your sentences, on how to cut your paragraphs. We are living during a time when reading has become not more very fashionable. A lot of people are turning to audio, to video and audio these days. So reading becomes something that only lovers do. So you want to structure your book in a way that really makes reading easy for your readers. So sometimes you take a book, you see a whole page, it's like just one paragraph. That makes reading very tedious for someone. So this part of the class really helps you to understand how your book should be structured, so that you have a good book. It also tells you about the different types of editing that would allow you to have a beautiful book, and how you can get help to how you can get resources, some free resources, online resources that can help you cut down costs and really make sure that by the time you send your book to a proof reader, you already covered a whole lot of grounds in your writing that will cut down the cost of proof editing, because proof editing can really be expensive. Okay, so that's what we do in lesson 4. And in this lesson, you get also handouts. Some of them are the list of free online resources that you can use. You will get a list of if you want to engage an external editor, if you don't know how to get to them, how to get all of them, I will give you some tips here on how to get that done. Okay, so lesson 5 is where we talk again about structure and design. Okay, I must admit that I put some structure and design content in the previous class, in the previous lesson, but here we'll talk about structure and design. It is going inside your book now and looking at your chapters. How are your chapters structured? Is there a nice flow between your chapters? How are your paragraph structures? The pages set? How do your margins look like? How are your sentences? How do your paragraphs connect to each other? Okay. It is again the part of the book that is very important. We check about the font. What font is it that you're using to write your book? Is it a font that is friendly for readers? How does your cover page look like? What is going to be the artwork that you want to have on the front cover of your page? What colors are you going to choose here? And what is it that you're going to have in the back cover? Okay. Do you want to have photographs or illustrations in your book? These are all the things that we look at in this lesson. So you know how you can structure your book in a beautiful way. When you write an autobiography, which is the story of your life, you structure it completely different from when you are writing a story about someone else, or when you're writing a nonfiction book, a nonfiction book. Okay, so these are the kind of things that we look at in this lesson and help you to structure your book. If you write an autobiography, it's also very beautiful that you put pictures in, because someone said pictures tell a story. What is the word? Pictures can tell more than 1,000 words. Okay, so you can tell your story, but having some pictures in there really complement the written story that you have in your book. And in order to do this, it's always good to have a structure on how you align those pictures in your story so that they tell a story in a story. I don't know whether this makes sense to you. So those are all the kinds of things that we look at in this lesson 5. So we look at the structure and the design of your book from front cover to back cover. We also look at the things that should be on the front cover besides your title, and the things that should be on your back cover. Okay, so this is what we do in lesson 5. In lesson 6, we are talking all things publishing. When you write a book, when you set out to write a book, the end process of writing your book is publishing. You want your book to be out. You want someone to read your book. You want someone to buy your book. You want people to have access to your book. And in order to do this, you have to publish. So in this lesson, we talk everything about publishing, whether you're releasing your book in the form of an ebook, whether you are releasing your book in the form of a hardcover, whether you're self-publishing or whether you're doing classical publishing or doing something in between. In this lesson, we take you through the different forms of publishing, give you the pros and the cons of each one of those publishing options, so that by the time that you make your decision as to how you want to have your book published, you really know you know which option suits you best, because you know the advantages and disadvantages. Each one of the options has an advantage and a disadvantage, whether you're self-publishing or whether you're going to a classical publishing or you're indie publishing. Some people choose Amazon, some people choose other platforms, whether you're publishing with Globuntu Books. All of those, they have their pros and their cons. And when you know each one of them and you weigh all of them, you are in a better position to choose an option that is less costly for you, that is efficient, and an option that helps you to take your book out, and also one that allows you to be in a community of authors, or that, most of all, one that allows you to own the intellectual property, to own your intellectual property. Writing a book is a creative process. When you finish writing, you have an intellectual property. So you want to choose a publishing option that allows you to still own your intellectual property, which is your book. So those are the 6 lessons that we cover in the Globuntu Writers Masterclass. There's still other lessons that we could cover, like marketing your book, the different kinds of marketing. How do you become the storyteller of your book? How do you get your books to readers? How do you get reviews? And all of those things, that's something that we do extra. But in this class, not to clutter you with a whole lot of content, I tailored the class in a way that the different lessons take you from the idea of wanting to write a book one day to actually getting down to writing your book, because that is the end result that we want to have. Once you finish the process of writing your book, what you want to think about is marketing. Sometimes if you have to think about writing and marketing at the same time, you may become so overwhelmed that you excuse me, that you forget, or you get too overwhelmed to write a book. So for me, it is important that you first write. Once the book is here, we can think about the marketing strategy, because in the course of writing the book, you already know the audience that you're writing for. That's one of the things that we cover in the writing class. So you know who you're writing for, and once the book is finished, you roll out your next plan, which is marketing your book. And that comes in an extra masterclass at the different ways and methods and strategies that you can use to write your book. So that was it for this masterclass, and I want to just invite you to join the Globuntu masterclass if you really feel like you want to write that book now. There's a huge discount that is on this masterclass right now. So if you are joining the class, you can benefit from that discount. The writers class, you will find it on Luma. You find it in the description box to this masterclass video. You can join the class and register. We have just limited seats available for the class, because I really want to make sure that each one person that is in the class gets the full attention, and that we are able to focus on the things that would allow them to start and finish their book and get it published. Next year is the perfect time to launch your first book or your next book. So don't miss out on this masterclass. And if you're ready for it, we are starting on the 1st of October. That is already next week. And the class takes place every Saturday. It's a 75 minutes class every Saturday. And my intention, my promise, is to get you on the mindset of a writer, a successful writer. You will have to do the writing by yourself. I can write for you. But once you get on that mindset, and I know it from people that have been in my master classes, you write, and you finish your book no matter what. And if you have been in my master class, you know that I always have your back. I will always be there for you. I will take you by the hand and make sure that you finish your book. When challenges knock at your door, when you doubt yourself, when you fear whatever it is, you talk to me and we find a way, because there is nothing more important and more joyful for me than to see someone who comes through my writer's class who gets out. You come in with the idea and you get out with your book. That is what I'm all about. And it's a journey that I've done many times. And when you get a testimony from people who have been in my classes, you know that this is a class that really helps you not just to write a book, but to declutter your life, to detox your life, and to walk out as a new person, to walk out in a way that allows you to reintroduce yourself to the world and to everyone around you in a different way. And you walk out with a new title, which is that of a published author. How beautiful is that? So I'm ready to take you through the class. All you have to do is check the description box of this video and find the registration link that will take you to my Luma masterclass section. Join the class. If there is anything that is on your mind that you still want to know, feel free to inbox me and I will gladly answer your questions. So take a friend and join the class, and let's declutter and set your blueprint legacy. My name is Beatrice Achaleke. This was the part 2 of 13 reasons that I wanted to give you why I think there was never a better time to write your book than now. So, oh, I see my sister Stembile. I see you. Sister Queen, one day you'll have to write a book as well. You already have 3 Globuntu young authors in your house, and your hubby is currently finishing his book. So it looks like the Queen is the only person who hasn't written a book. And if you allowed me, I will just gently remind you every now and then that the Queen has to write her own book, because I know that you have a whole lot to share. So that said, the Globuntu Masterclass for Writers is coming up on the 1st of October. Make sure that you join the class and share with, bring your friends to the class. And okay, Daddy writes first and then you come. I do understand that fully, and I respect that. And when your time is up, sister, I will have your back, and I will make sure that you journey through that writing process in a beautiful way, and that you get your book in your hands as well, so that the whole Chikosi Empire can introduce themselves as authors. You're all authors, right? That will be my greatest pleasure. So I'll let you go for today. Saturday, it's family time. Thank you for having joined this masterclass, and I hope very much to see you in the writers class and to journey you through your writing process, so that you too can become an author if that has always been your wish. So up until then, the next masterclass, I wish you a beautiful Saturday. I wish you a good time with your family. May you find your story. May you find your story, because I always say life is a story, and some stories are life transforming. And it is our responsibility to tell those stories and to use our stories to transform not just our lives, but the lives of the people that we are privileged to touch. So that said, make sure you own your story unapologetically, possessively, and obsessively, because it is your story. So thank you so much, sister, for being there. Thank you for everyone who has been in this class. I will see you in another Globuntu, either Globuntu School of Life Masterclass or Globuntu Writers Masterclass, or the Affirmation Masterclasses, whichever classes you want to come to. And one last thing before I go, if you're joining the Writers Masterclass today, you have a 25% discount. You can check that out on the registration page. You can use the discount so that you make sure that you come in. Then I know that you were on this class today. So that is set and done, and I am out of this class, because I have shared all that I had to share, sending you a lot of creative wishes, and may you, loved ones, continue to stay safe and protected through this crazy pandemic, and may you claim and own your story, because if you don't, no one will. Don't wait until it is too late. My name is Beatrice Achaleke, and I am out of here. Thank you for having joined the class.